"You're grounded, Lieutenant. That's final." Colonel Harwood's voice was sharp, but his stare hit even harder. Lieutenant Rayna Kavos stood frozen inside the hangar, the steady rumble of Apache helicopters shaking the floor beneath her boots. Her hands curled into tight fists, not out of anger, but out of frustration. This moment was supposed to be her victory, the day she finally proved herself. She had worked for this her whole life. Now, because of one man's stubborn pride, she was being pushed aside. Rayna didn't argue. She stood tall, biting down every word she wanted to scream. Her heart pounded in her chest. She wasn't just losing a flight, she was losing everything she had trained for. Then, just as the colonel turned to walk away, his eyes dropped. They landed on the tattoo inked on her throat. He stopped. Something about it made his breath catch in his throat. Just a few hours earlier, Rayna Kavos had been full of energy. She stood by the Apache, going over her final checks, ready for her first real combat flight. Every part of her training had led to this. Then, without warning, Colonel Harwood marched into the hangar. His boots slammed against the floor as he barked out a shocking order: "Pull her from the mission." Everyone froze. No one questioned him. No reason, no explanation. Rayna's heart sank. She tried to speak up, but the colonel didn't even look at her. He just added, loud enough for everyone to hear, "Women don't belong in the cockpit." Those words cut deeper than any wound. It wasn't about her skills, it was about who she was. Rayna stood there, silent, her dreams slipping away right in front of her. Rayna Kavos wasn't just another soldier trying to prove herself, she was born for the sky. Her father had been a legend, one of the best Apache pilots the Army had ever seen. After he died in combat, Rayna grew up surrounded by hangars, flight manuals, and old war stories. Every day she trained harder, studied longer, and pushed herself further, all to follow in his footsteps. She didn't want special treatment, she just wanted a fair shot. But the Army didn't forget the past, and neither did some of the men in charge. To them, she was just a girl chasing a man's dream. Then the order came early that morning. Lieutenant Kavos is reassigned to ground ops. No warning, no real reason. Just like that, everything she had worked for was ripped away. Rayna's hands shook as she read the notice. This wasn't just about a mission, it was her entire life's work, dismissed like it meant nothing. But deep inside, she wasn't ready to give up. Not yet. Something told her the fight wasn't over. Rayna didn't stay quiet. She marched straight into Colonel Harwood's office, her boots hitting the floor like thunder. She stood tall, eyes locked on his. "With all due respect, sir." "Why?" she asked, trying to stay calm. The colonel didn't even blink. His answer came fast and cruel. "Because I don't trust a woman to keep her head under fire." Rayna felt the words hit like a punch to the stomach. She had faced tough training, sleepless nights, and endless drills, but nothing stung like this. Still, she didn't yell, she didn't cry. She walked out of that office more determined than ever. They thought she'd walk away, but Rayna Kavos had never backed down from a fight, and she wasn't about to start now. The base was quiet until the alert siren screamed through the air. A recon team had been trapped deep in hostile territory. They needed help, fast. The call came through. They needed an Apache in the sky right now. Rayna Kavos was the only pilot available. She ran toward the helicopter, ready to go, heart racing. But standing between her and the cockpit was Colonel Harwood. "Not you," he said firmly, blocking her path. Rayna froze. Soldiers were out there, their lives hanging by a thread, and she was being stopped because of old opinions and pride. She didn't beg, she just stood there, helmet in hand, eyes locked on his. This wasn't about her anymore. It was about saving lives. Then the colonel looked down, and everything changed in one heartbeat. As Colonel Harwood stood in front of Rayna, ready to deny her again, something caught his eye. A small tattoo on her throat. It was a detailed B, wings spread wide, with one word written beneath it: "Rise." He froze. For a second, it was like he couldn't breathe. Memories rushed back. Hot wind, sandstorms, gunfire. Years ago, in the middle of a brutal ambush in Iraq, Harwood had been trapped with his unit. Things looked hopeless. That's when a voice came through his radio. "You don't quit, son. You rise." An Apache swooped in and saved them. The pilot's call sign? Stinger. His real name? Captain Rayna Kavos, Rayna's father. The B had been his symbol. Harwood stared at the tattoo, now understanding exactly who stood in front of him. This wasn't just some rookie soldier asking for a chance. This was the daughter of the man who had once saved his life. The silence between them felt heavy. He wasn't just looking at a pilot anymore. He was looking at a living reminder of a debt he could never repay. For a long moment, Colonel Harwood didn't say a word. The sound of radio chatter filled the air, urgent, desperate. Soldiers were out there, calling for help. Time was running out. He looked at Rayna one last time, then at the tattoo on her throat. That B, that word, rise. It wasn't just ink, it was a message, a memory. Slowly, he stepped to the side. "Go," he said quietly. Rayna didn't smile. She didn't speak. She simply moved past him, helmet in hand, eyes focused. This wasn't about proving herself anymore. It was about answering the call, just like her father did. Rayna climbed into the cockpit, hands steady, heart racing. The switches, the controls, everything felt familiar, like she belonged there. As the Apache roared to life, dust swirled around her, and the engine's thunder filled the air. She took off with power and precision, heading straight toward danger without fear. The recon team was surrounded, but Rayna moved like she'd done this 100 times. Sharp turns, steady aim, every move was perfect. She didn't fly like someone trying to prove herself. She flew like someone born to lead. Within minutes, the team was safe. Soldiers clapped her on the back, grinning, calling her a hero. To them, she wasn't the girl who tried. She was just the pilot who got the job done, and she made it look easy. Back at base, the sun was setting, painting the sky in orange and gold. Rayna stepped off the helicopter, her boots hitting the ground with quiet pride. The mission was done. The team was safe. She didn't need applause. She had done what she came to do. Later, near the hangar, Colonel Harwood approached her. He didn't say sorry. He didn't explain. He just looked her in the eyes, nodded once, and said a single word: "Rise." Rayna gave a small smile and touched the tattoo on her throat, the one that had finally made him see her. That word wasn't just her father's motto. It was hers now too. She hadn't flown today as someone's daughter, or as a woman trying to prove herself. She had flown as a pilot, strong, calm, and ready. Some lessons are written in books, others are written in ink. But the most important ones, they're written in the sky. And Rayna Kavos had just written hers for the world to see.